I built a version of you in my mind that never really existed, and I waited for it like it was real. I waited for the better days in you, the apology you never said, the change I kept imagining inside my head. I kept believing you'd become something you never were, like love could rewrite your nature if I waited longer. But people don't transform because we hope they do, and I was loving a possibility that was never true. Every time you stayed the same, I called it temporary phase, while slowly losing myself in endless waiting days. And I finally understand it now, what I refused to see. I wasn't loving who you are, I was loving who I wanted you to be. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. Not anymore, not again. I stopped rewriting your story to protect myself from the end. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. That apology in my dreams, the change I kept imagining between reality and in-betweens. And letting go of that illusion feels like finally seeing through. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. I'm letting go of you. I stopped collecting excuses, stopped defending what you did, stopped calling inconsistency something I should forgive. Because truth doesn't need protection, it doesn't hide or pretend. It just shows you clearly where something doesn't mend. And I was holding on to hope like it was proof of love, but hope without reality is never enough. Now I see it without emotion, without distortion in my view. You were always just yourself, not the version I gave you. 'Cause love built on potential always collapses in time, when reality finally replaces what we designed. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. I stopped counting some days, I stopped building futures on words you didn't say. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. And it doesn't hurt like before, it just feels like waking up from something I ignored. And now I stand in truth without needing you to change. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. I stepped out of the maze. Maybe healing is this moment when you stop negotiating with reality, when you finally accept people are not who you imagine them to be. Now my heart stops reaching for something that won't arrive, like I finally stopped surviving inside a lie. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. And that truth doesn't break me now, it steadies what I feel. It calms me somehow. I don't need you to transform to justify letting go. I'm not waiting for the version of you that never came. And now I know And maybe the hardest goodbye is not to a person, but to the version of them you created just to stay. There's a version of me that still remembers you too clearly, but I don't live there anymore. I can feel him sometimes, the person I used to be, still reaching for things that were never meant for me. Still waiting, still hoping, still believing too hard, still building a future from a breaking heart. But I don't respond to him anymore. That version fades a little more each day, because growth is quiet, but separation is loud inside. I don't belong to that version of me anymore. The one who begged you to stay, the one who thought love meant suffering, the one who lost himself along the way. And it hurts a little to say goodbye inwardly, but I'm not him anymore, and I finally see. I used to think healing meant going back to who I was before, but I can't return to innocence that doesn't exist anymore. I've seen too much, felt too deep, lost too hard to ever be that same heart again. And maybe that's not loss, maybe that's transformation, 'cause you don't go back to who you are after you survive something real. I don't belong to that version of me anymore. He still lives in memories I keep, but I've outgrown his pain and the promises he used to believe in. I'm not ashamed of him. He did his best to survive, but I've taken the next step forward, and now I'm fully alive. Tell me if you saw me now, would you recognize the change? Or am I just a stranger to the version you helped create? Because I don't feel like I'm returning. I feel like I'm becoming. I don't fight the past anymore. I just walk away from its hold, like learning that every ending was part of growing bold. And I can't thank that version of me for carrying what I couldn't get, but I don't live there anymore, and I don't regret. I don't belong to that version of me anymore, and that's how I know I've healed. Not because the memories are gone, but because they no longer steer how I feel. And I finally understand the deepest kind of change forgetting who you were, but no longer staying the same. I don't belong there anymore. I belong to now. I belong to now. I used to over-explain it all, every rise, every fall. Like if I just said it right, you finally see the light. But not everyone will understand what you held inside your hands. And I was breaking piece by piece, trying to make you see. Now I don't waste my breath that way on things you wouldn't stay. I let my silence speak instead of everything I said. And I'm not here to convince what you already missed. I don't feel like explaining myself anymore. Not knocking on that emotional door. No more proving I was real. No more trying to make you feel. And I don't need to justify the reason I said goodbye, 'cause I finally understand. I stand. I stopped defending my pain like it needed a name. Stop rewriting history just to make you see me in every misunderstanding. I stopped over planning, 'cause clarity doesn't come from someone who's already gone. Now I speak less, feel more than I ever did before, and it's peaceful in my mind, leaving all that noise behind. And I don't owe you proof of what I lived through. I don't feel like explaining myself anymore. I'm done with keeping score. No more trying to be seen through someone else's screen. And I don't need to be right to sleep through every night, 'cause I finally understand. I am enough. Maybe not everyone will stay when you stop explaining pain, but peace feels better than being misunderstood again. I don't feel like explaining myself anymore. I close that emotional door, and I don't need of you to know what is true. And now I walk without regret, without things I must protect, 'cause I finally understand. I stand. No explanation, just peace. Mm-hmm. 'Cause was a door inside my mind that I kept opening all the time, even when I knew what's there was nothing left to care. I'd step inside and fall apart, right back to where it starts. Like pain was something I would choose, just because of you. But now I walk right past it slow, like somewhere I don't need to go. No curiosity, no pull, just something I wish for. And I don't question why, I just let it die. I don't feel like reopening that door, not ever anymore. No more stepping back inside, no more breaking my own mind. And I don't need what's behind that version of my life, 'cause I finally understand. I start turning keys I find in memories of mine. Stop giving second chances to emotional glances, and every echo from that place doesn't take up space. It just fades and drifts away without me asking it to stay. Now my mind feels open wide, with nothing left to hide. No lock from pulling me, no gravity. And I don't feel the need to revisit what I bleed. I don't feel like reopening that door, I close it at my core. No more walking through that pain, no more losing gain. And I don't need to understand every scar I had, 'cause I finally understand. I stand. Maybe some doors stay shut, not out of anger, but out of knowing what's behind is not mine. I don't feel like reopening that door, I left it on the floor. And I don't feel the urge to return to everything I burned. And now I breathe without regret, without what I can't forget, 'cause I finally understand. I am enough. That door stays closed. You came into my life like light, after years of lonely nights. You held my heart so carefully, made broken feel like destiny. You memorized the way I smile, stayed up talking for a while, said things like I'll never leave, and stupid me believed. We built dreams inside my room, made forever feel so true. But forever started fading fast the second your past came back. I was healing wounds you never closed, while slowly creating wounds of my own. 'Cause I was just your temporary home, a place to rest before moving on. You loved me while you needed healing, and left the second you found your feeling. And now I'm standing in remember how you cried that night. Said your world didn't feel right. I held your shaking hand so tight, trying to keep you alive inside. I gave you every ounce of strength, even when mine was running thin. And maybe that's what hurts the most. You survived while I lost hope. Now you laugh to belong somewhere else, while I'm still fighting mental health. Funny how saving somebody can slowly destroy your own peace. You called me your safe place, but never planned to stay. 'Cause I was just your temporary home, a stop before your journey moved on. You kissed my scars and held me close, then disappeared like smoke. And now your memory fills these halls, like echoes bouncing off the walls. Guess some hearts are only meant to visit or remain. Maybe you did love me in your own way. Maybe you meant every word at the time, but temporary love still leaves permanent damage, and healing from that takes forever. I don't hate you, I just hate what losing you turned me into. 'Cause I was just your temporary home. Now I'm learning how to stand alone, learning not everybody who says forever actually knows what it means. And maybe one day someone will stay instead of leaving when skies turn gray. Someone who sees my heart as a destination, not a resting place. You were my forever, but I was only your stop along the way.
I used to think that love was something that could break, a fragile kind of promise every heart could take. I used to hold on tight to people who wouldn't leave, and call it love while I was learning how to bleed. But then you came in quietly without a storm. No empty words, no chaos dressed up as warm. You showed me love don't have to hurt to be real, and for the first time I could finally heal. No more guessing, no more pain to prove, just something steady, something true. This is a love that stays when the lights go out, when the world gets heavy and the doubts get loud. Not a fire that burns just to fade away, but a quiet kind of forever that chooses to stay. No lies, no games, no tears to hide, just open hearts standing side by side. I thought I knew what love was made of, till I found a love that stays. You don't make promises you can't defend. You don't disappear just to come back again. You hold my hand like you're proud it's mine, not like a secret you're hiding behind. And I don't check your phone, don't lose my sleep, don't question if your love is real for me. It's simple, it's calm, it's safe, it's right. Not a war I have to fight. You gave me peace I never knew I needed, a kind of love that's undefeated. This is a love that stays when the nights get cold, when we're getting tired and that time can't erase. No running away, no breaking apart, just two people choosing each other's heart. I thought love had to hurt that way, till I found a love that stays. And sometimes I remember who I used to be, crying over someone who couldn't see me. I thank the past for letting me go, 'cause it led me here to something I know. You broke me down, but I built again, stronger than I've ever been. And now I stand with open eyes, in a love that doesn't disguise. No more tears for what I lost. Every scar was worth the cost. This is a love that stays through every phase, through every doubt, through changing days. Not a moment, not a phase, not a game to play, but a lifetime kind of love that won't fade away. No fear of goodbye, no need to pretend, just a forever I can finally defend. I thought I'd never feel this way. Now I live in a love that stays. I survive the kind of love that breaks, just to find a love that stays.
Everybody loves a beautiful disaster, especially when it's falling apart in public. So go ahead, watch us burn. You walked in like a storm at sea, pretty chaos wrapped in jealousy. Red lips, black dress, dangerous smile. I should've known you'd ruin me in style. You loved attention more than peace, turned every whisper into a scene. And I kept playing the loyal fool while you rewrote every rule. Late night calls and slammed doors, broken glass across the floor. Neighbors listening through the walls, waiting for the next downfall. We say goodbye like we mean it, then kiss like we don't. We know this love is dying, but neither one lets go. So here's your applause for the tragedy. Two broken hearts performing beautifully, crying under flashing lights, turning pain into entertainment tonight. We scream, we bleed, we beg each other not to leave, like actors in a masterpiece of misery. Everybody wants a front row seat to watch two souls self-destruct completely. So here's your applause for the tragedy. You threw my jacket out in rain, said my love was just another chain, and then minutes later held me tight, like you couldn't sleep alone at night. Your tears always changed my mind, even after crossing every line. Guess love makes cowards out of hearts, too scared to fall apart. Now our friends avoid our names, tired of watching the same old flames burn down then rise again like hell, pretending to be heaven. We know exactly how this ends, till we restart it once again, addicted to the chaos in our veins. So here's your applause for the tragedy. Two broken hearts performing beautifully, crying under flashing lights, turning pain into entertainment tonight. We scream, we bleed, we beg each other not to leave, like actors in a masterpiece of misery. Everybody wants a front row seat to watch two souls self-destruct completely. So here's your applause for the tragedy. Do you remember the first night before the lies, before the damage. When touching you felt holy. Now we only know each other through anger, through slammed doors, through silence sharp enough to cut skin. And somehow, that still feels like love to us. Take another picture, post another lie, tell the whole world we're okay while we slowly die inside. Champagne tears and midnight fights, perfect couple in neon lights. If Heartbreak had a soundtrack, we play it every night. So here's your applause for the tragedy, for every scar you left inside of me, for every forever turn goodbye, for every sleepless crying night. And when the final scene goes dark, when there's nothing left but broken hearts, I know you'll still come back to me like fire returns to gasoline. 'Cause some loves aren't meant to heal, they're only meant to leave a memory, a beautiful screaming tragedy. Everybody claps when the curtains close, but no one stays to clean up the wreckage. I used to feel you in everything, in rainy nights and broken strings. Even silence had your face, like you were everywhere I stayed. But time has a way of fading pain, turning fire into rain. And now I search inside my chest, but you're no longer there to stress. It didn't happen all at once, no big goodbye, no final punch, just slow distance, quiet change, until your name felt strange. I don't feel you in my heart anymore. No more knocking on that door, no more tears when I recall the way I used to risk it all. What we had is out of reach, just a memory I can't keep. I don't feel you in my heart anymore, and it doesn't hurt like before. You became a fading light, not wrong, just not my life. I stopped replaying what went wrong, stopped holding on for so long. You're just a chapter I outgrew, not someone I still run to. And I'm not angry, I'm just free from who you used to be to me. Funny how it ends this way, not with words we need to say, but a quiet in the soul where your presence used to go. I don't feel you in my heart anymore. I'm not waiting like before. No more breaking every night, no more searching for a sign. You're just echoes in the past, something that couldn't last. I don't feel you in my heart anymore, and I finally feel alive, and I finally feel alive. It's not hate, it's not regret, it's the calm I couldn't get when I was still holding on to a love already gone. I don't feel you in my heart anymore. I don't need you like before. I released what weighed me down. Now I'm standing on my ground. You were once my everything. Now you're just a fading thing. I don't feel And I've never felt this free.